Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Raw Curves Media, Curvypreneur. I'm here with a special guest, a guest from my past, who came on the show to talk about a different part besides what we used to do, what we usually do, but we're going to do something different. This gentleman right here, this gentleman used to be my superintendent. I work for the New York City Transit Authority. And I'm smiling because I'm sitting next to my old boss. And I never brown nosed.
Nope.
I was always the one that I was so unique from everybody else. But this guy, he inspired me to pursue other things, and especially pursuing other ventures and stuff like that. So I'm here with the Mr. Arnaldo Lopez Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Waiters. Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm psyched. Like I said earlier before we taped, I'm actually interviewing my old boss.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, man.
And this gentleman actually came up with a book. A mystery book of some sort that is a good mystery, but also suspense at the same time.
Yes, sir.
His book is called Chicken Hawk, and this book right here is definitely. I'd rather for this gentleman to tell it because this is not my thing. This is his baby.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with Chicken Hawk, brother?
Well, Chicken Hawk actually drops on August 1st as an ebook. It's going to be on Amazon, and it's also coming out in English and Spanish at the same time.
Sweet.
I got the concept or the idea for Chicken Hawk while I was working for New York City Transit as a token booth clerk.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching the nocturnal activities of the young male prostitutes in the area. And next thing I knew, I was inspired to write a novel that featured these young male prostitutes, a serial killer that's after them, and then the homicide cops that are after him.
Whoa. Oh, wow. See, what people don't realize, New York City is always about a story.
Yes.
Times you cannot make any of this crap up when you're living in New York, or if you tour in New York. If you tour in New York, that doesn't beat living in New York. I'm born and lived this damn city. I've heard and I've seen some stuff.
You better believe it. I mean, New York, 8 million people, 8 million different stories.
Yeah.
All you have to do is stand on one corner long enough.
And you see a story going on,
you'll
right?
see a story going on.
Because once you're on the ground in New York City, in the subway system, you see some stories too.
You do, and that's exactly what happened with Chicken Hawk. I'm sitting in that booth, watching these kids ply their trade, their illegal trade in the subway and out in the streets. Mm-hmm. And I said, there's a book in there somewhere. There's a story there.
And you caught the right amount of footage, you wrote enough to make that book happen.
Yes, sir.
And how many pages is in that book, brother?
Oh, I'm not sure about pages, but it tops out at over 80,000 words.
That's a good amount of words for everybody who really wants to find out the suspense about this thing here. And a lot of people who know how New York City used to be back in the days. New York City used to be very rugged.
Yes.
It used to be very. You think New York City now it's not bad like it was back in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s.
Yep.
Because even if you're a New Yorker, you lived here in the city, you still get mugged.
That's right.
Either mugged, stabbed, killed, or you end up being a prostitute too.
Well,
it was just like Times Square. Times Square back in the days. Mm-hmm. No, now.
It's nothing like it was.
Nothing like how it was back in the days. As much as the stories I've been told, and I've seen some videos. I used to see movies that had some stuff with Times Square, and also seen some pictures of what it had been Times Square back in the days. Damn, It's like one of those most unusual things that nobody really explore.
Well, Times Square back in the day it was much more seedy. There were a lot more peep show places. There were a lot more. There was a lot more illicit things going on, prostitution, drugs. If you had the money, you can get anywhere or anything. If you were at Times Square.
If you were like he said, if you got it like that in Times Square, you can get it in Times Square.
Right on.
And also like at other areas like near Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
Central Park used to be real rough.
Yes.
You couldn't even last in the Central Park area if you by yourself.
That's
If you with another person, that other person might end up getting robbed too. Because I've seen the movie Warriors.
That's right.
I've seen what was that other movie? The Out of Towners.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good classic movie with
How about Fort Apache?
see, see, when people see movies of like old movies of old New York, they start to see why New York City is such a fascinating place. It has a story to it. Everything, everybody have an imagination about New York.
Yeah.
From TV shows to sitcoms to actual movies that film here in New York, there's so much of New York that people don't really know. Know the history about New York before you judge New York, because
Right
we are some historical people.
Yes, we are.
We live in a very historical city,
We do.
and you just gotta experience it.
You have to. And as throughout the world, with all the big cities around the world, none of them still compare with New York.
Nope.
New York just has a certain dynamism to it. Okay, a certain flavor to it. You know, you could be in one part of New York that looks like maybe you know, you're in a very sophisticated savoir-faire place, and then you turn the corner, you know, and the next thing you know, you're in the hood. So it only happens in New York.
If you don't know what the hood is, you're not in the right area. You're not, because the hood is not Upper East Side or Upper West Side. The hood is like Harlem, Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville, Canarsie, Spanish Harlem.
Oh yeah.
Or Boogie Down Bronx.
Oh, the Boogie Down. That's right.
Or Jamaica Queens.
Or Jamaica Queens. You know, but even the hood is changing nowadays.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, New York nowadays doesn't compare to New York from back in the day.
Because, telling you, y'all wouldn't last. I don't think any of y'all would have last. Because if y'all got it in you to really, if you know how to fight, you better know how to fight. Because back in the days, people had bottles.
Yeah, there was no such thing as whipping out a gun. Back then it was you know,
bats,
sticks, fists,
2x4s.
2x4s.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now back to your book.
Yes, sir.
Your book is based on a little bit on the epidemic of like the spread of AIDS and HIV.
Right. Remember when AIDS first came about, it caused a lot of panic and there was a lot of misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Even nowadays, with all the information there is and all the medication there is, a lot of people still have misconceptions about AIDS and HIV,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still a stigma attached,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to anybody that may have HIV or AIDS. And my novel expounds on that, in that the bad guy in my novel, the antagonist, he believes that he has caught AIDS from the male prostitutes, the young male prostitutes that he solicits, and his guilt and his ignorance lead him to madness, and in his insanity, he starts killing the very same male prostitutes that he solicits. So he becomes a serial killer. Regular guy at one time, father, husband, okay, employee, whatever you want to call him.
A loving role model.
Right, okay, but now he's a stone cold killer because he believes that he has caught the AIDS virus.
That's what you call living on a double life,
Yes.
living on the down low.
On the DL. That's right.
And if y'all don't know what the down low is, no, it is not R. Kelly. That song got nothing to do with what the down low really means.
Yep.
And even, as much as going on with the outbreak of AIDS and HIV now there's been talks about a new outspring of this advanced form of AIDS.
Wow.
It's the type of AIDS that even condoms can't even fight it, can't even stop it.
Wow.
And it's even scared. A lot of people take the risk anyway. A lot of people still do a lot of stupid stuff anyway.
That's right.
But even though sex is not only just that one part, it's also blood transfusions, sharing needles, or touching anything that has somebody else's sweat or
bodily fluids.
bodily fluids and whatnot. And it's scary enough that we all have to worry about these things now. And the thing is, us as Americans, we take a lot of things for granted.
Yes, we do.
It is bottom line true, because we take terrorism for granted. We take our own terrorism for granted. Mm-hmm. Domestic terrorism is real.
Yes, it is.
We take the government for granted. We take our presidents for granted. We even take our lives for granted.
Wow. Living
in the United States, because once you want to live a better day, you focus on trying to catch the American dream. But like what Donald Trump said, the American dream is dead.
Mm.
It is true, unless you were doing a scam. That's American dream. A lot of people scamming everybody nowadays. Now, this was based on your past experience as a token clerk.
Yes.
A booth operator. So, tell a little. Well, would you like to talk a little about that?
Sure. Okay. When I first started with New York City Transit, I was a token booth clerk, and I worked nights. Mm-hmm. And it just so happened that I picked the booth at 53rd and Lex, and I worked nights there. And there was a stairway behind the booth and a stairway in front of the booth, and I noticed that all night long there were young kids racing down one set of stairs and up the other, or down those stairs and up the other. And one time I stopped and I questioned them. I said, are you bothering my customers? And they insisted that they weren't. And that's when they told me that that basically they were all young male prostitutes, and these kids ranged in age from 12 to 20. And so I questioned them. I said, "Listen, are you guys gay?" And the oldest one said, "No, we're not gay. This is just our way of making money, so we can buy new sneakers, the latest clothes, so we can go clubbing and so on." And it just blew me away, because I'm looking at these young guys who look like any young guy, and they're telling me that their vocation or avocation, whatever it was selling their bodies for money. Later on, I was doing some research, and I found out about how the incidence of HIV and AIDS among heterosexual married women in Long Island had skyrocketed, and the CDC couldn't figure out why. Mm-hmm. Until they performed their own investigation and found that these ladies' husbands were soliciting these young male prostitutes, and somewhere along the line they would pick up the AIDS virus or HIV and transmit it to their unknowing wives, unsuspecting wives. All of that gelled for me, and I just figured, there's a story in there, there's a book in there. And lucky for me, I was able to pull it out, and now I've
got that pen and paper, start writing.
Exactly, and that's how Chicken Hawk came about.
A little earlier, I had another guest, the publicist, who actually, me and her was talking about how when you think about certain things, but you hold on for so long until somebody end up taking up the idea anyway, and they make their millions of dollars or their blockbuster movie or New York Times bestsellers and all that good stuff. You know, people manage to take that idea that you already had in your head for so freaking long, and all of a sudden you never had a chance to do anything with it until somebody else came up with the idea. You finally had that chance to get it done.
Yep, I finally, you know, and lucky for me, nobody else did it before me, right? Go on with what you're saying. I was lucky enough that I was writing. I actually wrote my book while riding back and forth to work on the subway, on the bus, and I just wrote it longhand on lined paper, and once I had the entire thing finished, I just sat down in front of the computer and
so that time I thought you was writing me up. You was actually writing your book.
That's right. So you had nothing to worry about. You had nothing to worry about.
Oh man, I was like, damn, hope you ain't writing in my file, man. I ain't do nothing wrong. I was just late once or twice, maybe 3 times, but I'm all right.
Yeah, you're a great employee, man. Don't even worry about that.
But you know, the think of what's going on. A lot of these men and women are doing it.
Yes.
And there's one particular case I remember reading on this one. I don't know if it was true or not, but I've seen this article so many times. I believe it is true. This girl, I think she was from Africa. She infected over 300 men
Oh my God.
with HIV.
Well, look at the guy that they
Purposely.
arrested. No, that's insane. But look at the guy that they arrested recently because he knew he had AIDS.
Yeah, was it a cop?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there was a cop
It was
that
a
did
cop?
that. There was a cop that did the same damn
Right,
thing.
he did the same thing. What you're doing is you're condemning those people to either prolonged illness or to death. You know, and that you have no conscience. You're not a human being if you do that.
It's sad. It's sick.
Yes.
Because that's a serious problem that people tend to think that, oh, you know, all human lives are expandable because you're gonna die anyway. I'm just gonna donate something for you to live with for the rest of your days.
Boom. There you go. And to tell you the truth, that's what this guy feels. The antagonist in my novel, Chicken Hawk. Okay, that's how he feels. He feels that these people infected him, and they doomed him to a life of a prolonged illness. Of course, he led a double life, like you mentioned earlier. So all his neighbors and friends and family don't know that he does this on the side because he's on the DL. Now he's afraid he's gonna get found out, and now he feels like he's going to bring shame on his family. Okay, and I mean all these things are just preying on his mind. And so in the end, he just loses it. He snaps, and he figures, you know what? They condemned me to this ignoble death. Okay, and so I'm going to take them out as well, and that's what makes the whole thing so tough, because when the homicide cops try to catch him, remember he's been living a double life, for a long, long time. So now their problem is, how do you find a guy that's been living this double life, who's been successful at hiding this other half of himself? Now you got to try to find him, and that's the crux of the novel.
Y'all need to definitely get yourselves engaged. When this book releases, August 1st, 2015.
Yep.
And it's an electronic book, ebook actually. It'll be available, and y'all definitely want to get a copy, because I'm definitely gonna get me one.
Yes,
and get a chance to read this story, because it sounds very realistic. Because hell, it is realistic. This stuff happens all the time.
Oh, it's very realistic. In fact, I had a former producer for Forensic Files. I sent a copy to her, and she sent me back an email saying that she doesn't usually read these kinds of novels, because with her knowledge, she can tell if somebody doesn't know what they're talking about. But she said that my novel was the most realistic crime thriller that she's ever read, and now it's become her favorite novel.
See, that's 2 thumbs up for that woman right there. She knows what the hell she's talking about.
Yes, she does.
Because I don't read a lot of those type of books, because like she said, some of these books, some people just write because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, or they just never investigate it or even learn about that lifestyle. They just know by watching TV or reading a newspaper or whatnot. But you actually seen it and you knew about it.
Oh yeah. In fact, I even asked the police if I could sit in the precinct and watch the way things worked. I did the same thing with the DA's office. I can guarantee that my novel is very, very authentic when it comes to the city of New York, the police, the DA, the workings of a police investigation in New York. It's all very authentic.
Actually, you know what? I remember watching Law and Order SVU. There's been a few episodes like that before. There was this one episode that caught my attention. This guy, he intentionally drugged women so he could have other people, actually other ladies, just to suffer like he did. The thing is that he had a dating website. He was on a dating website, and that's how he caught up with all these women to fall into the trap. So as they trying to find out this crazy web of men who are having sex, not only involving just women, it's also involving men. So this thing here is outspreading and crazy. A lot of people go into paranoia to want to have sex.
Yes.
I was like that years ago, when I've been reading newspapers or watching the news about these things that's going on with HIV and whatnot, and it scared the hell out of me. Trust me, because I was afraid to even ever be involved in a sexual relationship ever again, because you don't know what to expect anymore.
You don't know what to expect.
Because that woman that you're dealing with could be living a double life by you dating her, but she actually has a man, but her man is probably sleeping with other dudes or other chicks.
And it happens all the time.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not realistic. It's happening every day. It's just that not a lot of people know about it, or they in denial about it. Because you got people to who just don't care. Some people just don't have an ounce of soul in them to really care, because they look for a crutch.
Yep.
For someone to really take on, like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go at least maybe 5 women tonight on one night. I'm gonna spread my man butter some damn way.
Yep. And that's it. And the heck with the consequences.
Yeah.
If they don't, if they don't protect themselves, then that's on them. I'm gonna get mine, okay, and let the cards fall where they may.
And also that, like, presently, that these young teenage scientists, I call them scientists because I believe they got something going, that they invented and designed condoms that can detect STD.
Wow. And
I believe they said the yellow one, if it's green, it turns yellow. It's got chlamydia or something like that. I was like, damn, that's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
I was like, yo, if y'all come out with that, I'm definitely going to use them, because it's great, because now you can actually know if you got something or not. Because not only just men that does it, women does it too. Women that would, I ain't badgering nobody. It's both men and women. Because women will feel butter if I actually butterize themselves just by singling them out. That's not singling them out. It goes from both ways, because both men and women do it. And it's dark, and it's scary, and it's very dangerous.
Well, there you go. And again, that leads us back to my novel. It's dark and it's scary. And that's what happens to this guy. He was perfectly fine living his double life, having sex with young male prostitutes or boys, and then going home and living his
normal life with
right? The
wife and kids.
The wife, yep. And then one day, he gets sick, and he believes his guilt and his ignorance of HIV/AIDS make him believe that he's caught the AIDS virus, and and his mind just spirals down after that.
Hmm.
You know, he starts blaming these young male prostitutes, and he takes his anger and his guilt out on them by killing them, and that brings him, of course, to the attention of the Manhattan North homicide cops Eddie Ramos and Tommy Q City.
How does his name sound familiar?
I don't know.
It sounds like I heard him in a damn movie or something.
Well, I
But
hope, well,
actually, you know what? Come to think about a movie,
yeah.
you ever heard of a movie called Cover?
Yes, yes.
That was a good damn movie.
It sure was.
It freaked me out when I first watched it. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yep, remember that, yep, I remember that movie. Very
Oh
well.
man, I was like, "There." You know what? Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You got something in your eye. Want me to get it for you? I was like, "Did they actually do that?" Because I never heard of that before in my life. I was like, "Men actually do that?" I was like, "Wait a minute, what the hell?"
Hey man, nowadays anything goes, man.
I never. I can guess it because it happens.
It happens, man. It happens, and you know what? To each his own. Okay, but that still doesn't excuse you not taking pains to keep your partner safe, or keep yourself safe, or at least let your partner know if anything is up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the last thing you want. No, actually, the main important thing you don't want is to become that outbreak monkey.
There you go.
Because you want to make sure that when you're pretty much doing your thing, you're not infecting others.
Exactly.
But people just tend to not want to take that initiative to be safe. They just want to, live dangerously, or just purposely just do it. Just don't give a damn. They don't care about life. They don't care about you or your loved ones. They just don't do it. Like over there in that movie Cover, the guy Leon played the music artist who was living a double life, but he also had HIV, AIDS, and he infected a married man. Or actually, come to find out, the married man, he thought he was infected, but he wasn't infected. But the artist, the person that was played by Leon, he was infected, who was involving sexual relations with a married man who the wife found out about, and come to find out they was doing a whole bunch of other stuff for. But things do change for a while.
Well, they do, and you have to remember that we're all people. We all have feelings. We all have emotions. We all have. Nobody wants to find out, especially at a young age, okay, that now now you're gonna have to take that cocktail of medication for HIV,
A very
AIDS,
long time.
for a very long time, and you don't now if you get involved with somebody, okay, the right thing to do would be to let them know beforehand, and that right there. I mean, how many relationships? How hard relationships are already hard enough. Okay, without you having now you have to let somebody know from the jump. Okay, well, you know what? I'm HIV positive.
Yes, I've even seen that happen before. See, it's like I don't see them in person. I see them in the films or on television. That happens.
It does.
Because that person that you're messing with, you don't even know about their sexual background, but you still want to stick your tongue in that person's mouth. Even I asked a question one time: is it wrong to ask the person that you're trying to deal with about their sexual past? Or is it wrong before y'all start to have sex, would y'all go take an HIV/AIDS test before that?
Wow.
Is it wrong? It's not.
Well, look, in an ideal world, okay, in an ideal world, people would be mature enough, all right, to be able to do just that. Oh, listen, baby, before we get, hot and heavy, let's go take a test, make sure we're both good. But I would imagine that with most relationships, that would be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Because the first thing the other person's going to say is, what, you don't trust me? What kind of person do you think I am?
I don't know you from jump, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But, some people just don't take those things lightly.
No.
They automatically assume, like, oh, damn, I'm about to get me some ass. Or I'm about to get me some of this D. They don't think about, like, okay, I want to be living myself safe. I want to live a long time. But they always think that they can't get it. They think they're untouchable.
Yep.
I remember those days when I was younger. I thought I was untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
One time I was scared out of my mind, and I found out I was negative. I was like, because I was panicking like hell.
I don't blame you, man.
But it is about that time. We're going to wrap up this episode of Curvypreneur, and with my special guest, the almighty great Arnaldo Lopez Jr.
Thank you, Mr.
Who is the
Williams.
author of this new novel, Chicken Hawk.
Chicken Hawk. It's going to be available on
August
Amazon.
1st.
That's right, August 1st. As an ebook. It's also going to be available as a hard copy book in English and Spanish.
And
Chicken Hawk.
You definitely don't want to miss out.
Don't miss out. You'll
All
love
right.
it.
So this is time to say goodnight, everybody, and Curvypreneur out.
Curvypreneur out. Good night.
Good night. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Curvypreneur. Today is those days that I am excited. That because today I'm going to have 3 interviews, man. So this one right here, she's my first guest. Tia Jackson?
Yes. Tina Jackson.
Tina Jackson, y'all.
Hey.
She's an author,
Yes.
and she also deals with,
Skincare.
she does the skincare, y'all. She gave her brother a little sample. She gave her brother a little sample. She gave her brother a little sample. So I most definitely am looking forward on using this product here. So, Dino!
Yeah. You're going to love it. It's going to clear up everything.
I need to look young, y'all, because obviously seem like people think that I'm an old man. So pretty much, y'all hurt my feelings. So I'm going to do my thing if I have to keep myself looking younger and younger.
Yeah. A lot of water.
A lot of water in this. I'm straight.
Definitely.
So, Miss Jackson.
Yes.
I've been a long time wanted to say that. Then I had a guest with the last name Jackson. So, what brought you on down to the studio, darling?
Well, I'm excited. It's been 7 years I've been trying to get this book done, and finally been able to do it.
Did you bring a copy with you?
I didn't yet. I don't actually have the book yet, but I will soon. And it's basically a self-help book about how we can be our best.
What's the title?
Yes, I am 51 years old, and I beat over 40 illnesses. What's the name of it? Yeah.
That's a long name.
Yeah, because it's to give people the main idea of what the book is about. There's a lot. 51. Yeah. Hey.
Serious?
Yeah.
I'm going to take that post I saw on Facebook seriously now. It seems like women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s look younger than girls in their 20s.
Yes.
And now I actually am seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
It is true. A lot of women, young women in their 20s, they don't even look like they age. They look old as hell.
They don't, because it's their lifestyle is beating them up. That heavy partying.
Heavy partying. Got your drinking, smoking, weed, stress.
Yes, yes.
But a little bit more about your book. You're looking to basically trying to promote like how to live a healthier health style.
Yes.
Lifestyle.
Right.
When it comes to being older.
Well, really, it starts when you're young.
Mm.
From my young age, I was heavy into exercising, and I believe that's what helped save me. Because when I turned 40, I got deathly ill, and I turned to a healthy lifestyle of eating vegan and exercising every day, and it saved me. So what I learned is even when you're young, you might do some wild stuff. I mean, I know I did a lot of wild stuff. I was I was a teenager on drugs, but what I've learned is that you have to start incorporating healthy choices in your life so as you get older, you won't look it or feel it. And then you won't have to battle some horrible disease.
And as you was going through all of that, the path of destruction during your
Yes.
younger days, I know a lot of people go through that, especially
A lot.
I've known some people
Mm-hmm.
who are either went through it or are currently going through it. Some people are just in denial about it. But, it's understandable that, sometimes some people just can't be helped.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes that people who just choose to just continue doing what they do.
Right.
But not everybody should. So, with what you're doing, you're promoting this book to catch others to really look at your point of view for what you've been through, so they can actually, how you say it? What is the best way of saying it?
I think what it is that I want to show people that I went through addictions, I went through domestic violence, and I went through battling 40 illnesses, and to show people that you can still look good even though you go through all this stuff if you do certain things. And one of the things that I do is that I don't eat red meat. I love it, but it's very toxic and it ages us very quickly and it causes disease.
I think that's the reason why my ass looks so fat and old.
You love red meat?
Love me some burgers.
I
just had me some Wendy's last night.
What?
Can't
Wow.
help it. I had me some Wendy's. What was that?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I am a red meat eater. I'm a carnivore.
Wow.
I'm a carnivore. I'm more 75% carnivore. No, I'm actually 85% carnivore. And whatever's left, I'm a herbivore.
Right.
But I'm
Mostly
I'm
carnivore.
omnivore, but it's all good.
Because we're raised on it and it tastes good. But you know why
Yes.
meat tastes so good? Because the animals are vegetarians. They don't even eat meat. And that's why they taste so good.
I've actually had organic meat. It was Angus beef patties from Walmart.
Right.
And the difference between the way the meat tastes with Walmart and the regular supermarket is totally different.
Really?
And I've actually tasted meat. And actually, I had another guest, K.L. Belvin.
Mm-hmm.
He's an author, and he and I was talking, and me and him was talking about how certain neighborhoods get certain products better than the next neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, for instance, you could go to neighborhoods like in Brooklyn, for instance, like you go to Bay Ridge, go to Sheepshead Bay, or you could go to the hood, like East New York, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, and whatnot.
Right.
And you go to the supermarkets, and you see the difference of how their meat is delivered.
Yes.
Some of the meats be looking like the white neighborhoods, pretty much what they say, and that their products look better and taste better.
Yeah,
More
definitely.
more than the
Than
supermarkets
ours.
and then our neighborhoods,
Mhm.
our black neighborhoods, minority neighborhoods.
Mhm. That ain't right.
It is what
You
it is,
know.
and the thing is, and what he said was right, that us as minorities, we do not voice ourselves
It's true.
enough to be heard, so we could actually make changes in our neighborhoods. And I
Exactly.
do believe that because nobody. When was the last time
That
anybody
is
went to a
true.
community meeting?
Right. It's
Um,
true.
I haven't one in my neighborhood, but I don't go simply because nobody else is going.
Mhm.
If I go,
It's like people have lost they don't care anymore. And when
yeah,
you don't care, that's when you suffer because we don't know what they could be doing to us or shipping into our neighborhoods. It's killing us. Like those little cheap juices that they give the kids, that's
yeah,
just pure poison.
that I remember growing up on that 25-cent juice, the
Mhm.
little carton of juices,
Mhm.
man. Them suckers was good when I was a kid, but I didn't know better.
Right.
But now
It's
it's just
poison.
pretty much it's just high fructose
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
just colored water with a little flavor in it.
Right.
It's just pure,
And
like you said, poison.
sugar.
It's just a lot of sugar.
Right.
And myself, I'm a sugar fiend. I have a sweet tooth. Love me some sweets.
Well, you know what you would love even better? Some vegan sweets. They
Vegan
taste
sweets.
better. Yes. It sounds kind of crazy, but they taste better
Let me
than the
let me
regular
let me
sweets.
let me guess. Tofu dipped in
No,
caramel,
no. Real cookies,
carrots dipped
cake.
in chocolate.
Real, no. Real vegan, but it's real sweets and it's delicious. And you don't get sick. It's not made with the heavy dairy stuff. It's
Mm.
made like gluten free and oh man, it's amazing.
I don't really do milk as much anymore. I felt like when I used to drink whole milk.
Mhm.
Nowadays, it makes me feel ill. It makes me
Yeah.
feel very sick. Then I started drinking 2% milk. Then I
Mhm.
tried 1% milk. It tastes totally different, and
Mhm.
it doesn't give my body the the the, the issues of trying to digest it.
Right. Your
Because
body can't digest it.
when my body was just like either I feel like I'm gonna throw up or either my stomach is just stop bubbling
Right.
and all. I'm like, what the hell am I
Right.
eating? What
What
am I
is
drinking?
this?
It's like times I'll eat chicken for weeks.
Mhm.
I'll eat straight chicken, and if I ever eat beef, one shred of beef, my body starts to just make sounds,
Right.
and it feels different. But once we all try, like I was saying before, that we all should be voicing ourselves to make ourselves better be heard,
Right.
to have the products that we want, the resources that we really need. And already bad enough, our neighborhoods really don't care for one another.
Mm-mm.
Like the business improvement districts. The one in my neighborhood, Flatbush, there's barely any good stores around.
Wow.
A lot of these stores are starting to disappear. Hell, downtown Brooklyn looks like Manhattan.
Well, you know what? That's why in what's so amazing about my book is that the very last chapter is called Entrepreneurship, and it's about making people focus on what they can do to start a business, to make money, to hire people, to bring money into the economy so that we can all be wealthy and live right. Because working for these minimum wage is just not making it for a family of 3, 4, 5, even a single person.
Mm-hmm.
So people have to learn how to start becoming an entrepreneur
It's hard to
and
even
create jobs.
It's hard to be a single person to get an apartment on your own.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
I remember I was applying for an apartment. They told me that I don't make enough.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
for
how
New
is
York,
that
we
possible?
don't.
How am I not making enough? They said
Isn't that
because of what
something?
even though you got a steady job, steady paycheck, you're working 40 hours a week, but you got at least have a second income to try to
Right.
pay the bills, like the
Right.
lights and all that stuff. And I was like, so I'm gonna have to find me a place that has all that stuff. So I don't have to worry about you telling me I gotta pay this, that, and
Exactly.
that. A lot of people, a lot of landlords do that. They
Right.
don't they rent you this place, but as far as like lights, the electricity, the gas, that's coming out of your pocket.
Right.
But that's hard enough that people got to struggle because
It's
people
true.
don't got money like that to be paying all this and that. Now that's why people being cheap. Want to, pay a little here, pay a little there. Then when that big bill comes to your ass, get that pink letter saying your past due.
Oh man.
That bill.
Bad feeling.
Yeah, the bills are bills. We can't hide it.
Yeah.
You can shred it. You can eat it.
Mm-hmm.
Throw it in the garbage. You can burn it. They still got your Social Security number.
Right.
You're pretty much done for.
That's why we have to learn how to pay ourselves first, because I believe that's the key to becoming wealthy, and we don't do it. We're so busy buying, I got to buy this, I got to buy that. And that's the problem. If we were to just put away 10% and pay ourselves first and then use it as an investment, we would see ourselves wealthy. But we're not taught this as kids, so we don't get it. We're just, especially Black people, minorities, we're consumers. We're not investors. We need to become investors. All minorities, the Latino community as well, we have to learn how to stop. It's not about the latest clothes and all that. It's about,
because I'm already through with the fashion thing, like new trends and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, it's your trend.
It's good if you can afford it, but if you can't afford it, you can't.
Yeah, because you know how many people talk about they got $200-$300 sneakers.
Yeah.
And times they don't even freaking wear the damn things. Just put them in the box.
Right.
They say they'll build value because,
right.
in the near future, it's going to mean some money. But think about it. If you're buying a sneaker you think that's going to catch money.
Right.
But people who are, the manufacturers probably make about $2,500 for that one pair of Air Force Ones. What makes you think that no other person that's saving those same type of sneakers that you got is going to build value?
Right.
Because once, 25 years from now, people, those same 2,500 people probably still got the pairs. They ain't even touch them. They didn't even wear them. They got them in a box. There's no value.
Right.
Because already still you got 2,500 people that still have those same sneakers. They're trying to sell them. So if you sell them online, people research. That's why the internet is humongous the way it is, because once you put it on the internet, everybody will know where to look for.
Right.
And once they look for it, they will like you take it to a pawn shop and whatnot and be like, we did a little research. The money you're looking for is not looking there, man. I watched hardcore pawn. I watch these pawn shops and stuff like that. Because
Interesting.
You sit there and, you watch the show.
Right.
So you actually start to learn how their game is. And it's actually it's something to learn. Everybody should learn that. But I noticed that in a lot of Black neighborhoods, there's a lot of pawn shops now.
Because they know we're going to always need money. It's crazy.
I don't even got my ring anymore. I missed that damn thing. A custom-made ring I had.
Really?
And,
that's why pawn shops are of the devil.
It is a devil. I really missed
oh my gosh. I know what you mean.
It was
Man.
It was a necklace piece turned into a ring.
Really?
My mom gave me a 14-karat gold necklace piece. It was so small, it was like, it looked kind of weird for me to wear it as big as my ass is. So I managed to spend money to make this ring. And it took a while to get paid for because, it costs money to make money.
Right.
But by the time I got it, I fell in love with that damn thing. And then all of a sudden, just fell into hard times. That's when I got hurt in the job. I needed extra little money.
Right.
I pawned that sucker twice.
Right.
And I gambled and lost and completely forgot to pay for it.
Right.
It's already gone now. So melted the hell out of it. So
man,
pretty much I just lost a nice, beautiful ring.
An heirloom. I know.
Heirloom. I could have passed on to my kids or whatnot.
That's why we got to learn how to invest in stocks and bonds, annuities, liens.
What's your secret? You know anything?
I've learned a little
I know.
just from people telling me that I didn't listen to, and now once I lost my job, I got it. There's so many things to invest in to become wealthy, and we just have to learn how to put some money away and just be able to invest it in that investment and make a ton of money. I saw a post on Facebook. A man he only was making $12 an hour on his job for years and years and years. He had a portfolio worth $450,000.
Oh, is that like parking attendant?
It probably was.
It was a parking attendant. Older guy.
Right.
He's been a parking attendant for
I think it
30
was.
years. And he's been working the same job for all those years.
Yes.
But all he's been doing
Right.
is actually he listens and he gives. He listens to people who are investors, bank people, and they pretty much they know what to say and whatnot. So he's listening to them. And then when the next times people will ask, have you heard any new stories about this? This guy dropped some things in. And people were building up portfolios, but this guy had a portfolio,
right,
for his family.
Right.
And he was talking about how his life was when growing up, raising kids, busting his butt to try to make money to support his kids, trying to get them in the finest schools, not in public schools, in the finest schools.
Right.
College, private schools and whatnot, he busts his hump just to make ends meet. So when the time comes, he's starting to learning to invest in it.
Right.
But there was something else that I think he was dyslexic.
Really?
Yeah. But
which makes it even more amazing.
Yeah. Now, there's a secret of mine. I'm mildly dyslexic. There's a lot of celebrities out there who have these disabilities, times they overcome it. I was just watching the thing about James Earl Jones overcome being a heavy stutterer.
Oh yeah, he was heavy stutterer. Yeah. And look at his voice, how he transformed it.
And I was just sitting there listening to him. I was like, James Earl Jones was a stutterer? Wow.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, CEO and chairman of the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Oh yeah, my son loves him.
Me too. I admire the man. Though, you see how the things are. Some people act the way they are just to get to where they gotta go.
Right.
But this man, I admire him because he went through a lot. He sacrificed. He used people. But hell, who hasn't?
Wow.
So, but the thing is also, I learned that he also had dyslexia. He suffered from it. And actually, he still is kind of dyslexic.
Right.
Tom Cruise.
Oh, wow.
There's a few other celebrities.
I love Tom Cruise in the vampire movie.
Yeah,
that was the best.
I never knock a person because of their disability. Because some people will have one way or another to make it. That's why I don't disrespect it. Because I've been there.
Yeah.
Times it takes me a while to read a book.
Yeah.
And it's not like a crutch that you can't really read very well or do math very well. It's just that sometimes you got to work your way to make it worth your.
You have to push it more.
Yeah, work it to that point that you're gonna be better, regardless of the fact. So
people with disabilities really push. I mean, they really work harder because they don't want to be labeled that as a disability. They want to be like they're normal, like everybody else.
Human being, like everybody
exactly,
else.
And they are.
Yeah. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back with Miss Jackson.
Hey.
Let's see. See, everybody, and recording. So right now I'm on Periscope and we live, so everybody else can see what the heck is going on. So what's going on, Donna? We're gonna wrap this up with Curvypreneur questions.
Okay.
But this is one question that I would love to talk to you about. As far as being a woman in this world, and you see how things going on for others that are looking to get themselves involved with entrepreneurship, arts, entertainment, and whatnot. Now you're seeing the curvy women really blossoming with what's going on. What do you think of the world today for the plus size industry?
Well, I think finally people are awakening and embracing that the real woman has curves, and that we will not be ignored any longer, and that it's beautiful to have curves. And I think that it's also going to help with a lot of women with self-esteem issues, because a lot of women grew up thinking that you have to be this size, and if you don't look like this, then you're ugly. And a lot of women have low self-esteem issues. And I think with the curvy entrepreneur, is going to let everyone know we're all beautiful, whatever size we are, whatever shape we are, whatever color we are. God made us all, and we're all perfect.
Hey, Periscope, everybody. Periscope. First time on Curvypreneur. This is Terrell Antoine Waiters of Raw Curves Media Curvypreneur. Curvypreneur out. With my guest, Tina Jackson.
Thank
Check
you.
her out when
Thank
when her
you.
book comes out, and
Yes.
come on down to your book signing. What's going
Yes.
on, girl? What's
Yes.
with the book signing? Tell me a little bit about
so
that.
excited. September 30th from 6 to 8 at the Six Sisters Bookstore in Manhattan, 1942 Amsterdam Avenue on 156th Street. We're going to be having giveaways. We're going to have refreshments. My book is going to change your life, help you with beating addictions, help you with facing who you are and becoming that great person and becoming that entrepreneur, no matter what size you are.
September 30th.
September 30th. It was September 11th, but we had to reschedule. So now it's September 30th, which is a Wednesday, from 6 to 8. But get there a little early so you can get your eat on. We're going to have some wine. It's going to be great. Thank you.
It's been a great time having her here.
Thank you, Tyrell. It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah. Everybody. See there? See there? See there?